It was meant to be a calm, ordinary night. A soft glow from a warm lamp filled the room. Outside, the world had begun to settle into its evening rhythm. Inside, Luna, a graceful German shepherd, lay quietly, the quiet hum of her breathing blending with the gentle ticking of a clock. Everything seemed normal, peaceful, predictable. And then, without warning, the air shifted. The silence deepened, becoming almost tangible, and the gentle expectation of a dog giving birth slowly transformed into something far more intense, something neither Ethan nor Rachel could have anticipated. They thought they were ready. They really thought so. But nothing in their years together, nothing in all the books they had read or videos they had watched, could have truly prepared them for the unfolding night. What happened next left them frozen, hearts racing, eyes wide with wonder and disbelief, witnessing a truth that felt impossible, a moment both terrifying and beautiful. Before we dive fully into this story, let us know where you're watching from, and if it touches your heart, don't forget to give it a like. Willowdale was the kind of town that moved gently through life. Its mornings smelled of fresh coffee, its air carried the songs of birds, and its streets had a way of making time feel slower, kinder. Ethan and Rachel had lived there for over a decade, in a quiet home tucked behind maple trees whose leaves danced in the sunlight. Their life was simple, steady, and full of small joys, the kind that come from shared glances, laughter over breakfast, and quiet evenings together. Yet beneath that calm, there had always been a soft, unspoken emptiness, a gentle longing neither spoke aloud, but both felt. Both had grown up surrounded by animals, especially dogs, creatures who had taught them loyalty, patience, and unconditional love. They had missed that kind of presence in their adult lives, that silent, comforting companionship. Maybe now, they thought, it was finally the right time. Maybe they were ready to welcome a new heartbeat, a new spirit, into their home. One sunny morning, as golden light spilled through the kitchen window, Ethan lifted his cup of tea and spoke almost casually, though there was a warmth in his voice. "I think it's time." Rachel didn't need words to understand. She smiled, quietly setting down her mug. They had danced around the idea for years, hinted at it, considered it carefully. But in that moment, there was no hesitation, no need for discussion. There was simply the mutual understanding of two hearts finally ready for the same thing. Later that day, they drove down winding country roads to the Willowdale Animal Shelter, a place that smelled of hay, shampoo, and hope. Its walls echoed faint barks, each dog offering a small, eager sound that spoke of stories untold. Some wagged their tails timidly. Others pressed their noses against the bars, curious yet cautious. Each dog carried the quiet weight of waiting, of resilience, of a silent hope for a home. Ethan reached for Rachel's hand. "We're really doing this?" She nodded, tears forming in her eyes. They hadn't come just to look. They had come to find the missing piece of their family. At the far end of the kennel aisle, Rachel stopped. Behind a metal gate, a German shepherd sat quietly. Her amber eyes seemed to look straight through them, calm yet knowing, curious yet steady. She didn't bark or jump. She simply existed in that moment, fully aware. Rachel knelt slowly. "Hello there," she whispered. The dog stepped forward, sniffed gently, then sat back, as if in quiet agreement. There was an unspoken strength in the way she held herself. Gentle, but strong. Cautious, yet open. Ethan noticed Rachel's subtle shift, her breath catching, her eyes softening, a recognition that ran deeper than words. That look wasn't just about the dog. It was about memory. About something lost, and now, almost painfully, found again. "She looks just like Molly," Rachel murmured, tears prickling at her eyes. Molly had been her childhood dog, her faithful friend, and now this shepherd, steady and calm, had brought those long-buried feelings rushing back. A small card hung on the gate. Her name was Luna. She was about 2 years old, and the note beneath described her as calm, intelligent, and fiercely loyal. Ethan crouched beside Rachel, and for a few quiet moments no one moved. Connection, deep and immediate, had blossomed in an instant. Rachel reached through the bars and gently touched Luna's paw. She was theirs. Luna came home that rainy afternoon, the clouds low and heavy over Willowdale. But inside, their home glowed with warmth. A blanket lay ready by the fireplace, a bowl of fresh water waited by the door, and a basket of toys was neatly arranged in the corner. Luna stepped in cautiously, sniffing every corner, circling once, then lying near the window, tail curled. She was home. Rachel knelt beside her, fingers running through thick fur. "Welcome home, sweet girl," she whispered. Ethan watched, warmth swelling in his chest, realizing that this small moment had filled a space they hadn't known was empty. Weeks passed, and Luna settled as if she had always belonged. She followed Rachel from room to room, slept at Ethan's feet in the evenings, and greeted every morning with gentle nudges. One quiet Saturday, sitting on the porch, Ethan spoke. "Have you thought about letting her have puppies?" Rachel laughed, imagining the chaos. Tiny paws skidding across the floor, the noise, the mess. But beneath the laughter, a quiet hope began to grow. They contacted a trusted local breeder, considering the idea with care, nothing rushed, nothing forced. Soon, signs appeared. Luna ate more, slept longer, and carried herself with a new stillness, a subtle readiness. "Ethan," Rachel whispered, "I think she's pregnant." A vet visit confirmed it. Luna would become a mother. Joy and nervousness mingled in their hearts. Rachel read up on care for pregnant dogs. Ethan built a cozy whelping box with blankets and a small lamp. But the real surprise came at the ultrasound. The clinic was quiet. Luna rested her head in Rachel's lap as they watched the screen. The vet smiled knowingly. "Well," she said, "it's a little crowded in there." "How crowded?" Ethan leaned forward. "I count at least 13. Maybe more," the vet said. "A few are hiding behind the others. It's hard to tell when they're moving so much." Rachel's eyes widened. Her lips parted in silent astonishment. 13? She whispered. Ethan chuckled, stunned. So, much for just 3 or 4. They left the clinic hand in hand, minds spinning with excitement and nerves. "Somewhere in that whirlwind," Rachel murmured. "She's going to need us more than ever." That night, as the moon cast its silver glow over Willowdale, the air held a heavy stillness. It was as if the world itself had paused, waiting. Rachel noticed the first signs just after dinner. Luna became restless, circling her bed, then nudging Rachel's hand gently. She didn't whine. She didn't panic. She simply looked. "It's time," Rachel whispered. They moved the whelping box closer to the fireplace. Ethan fetched a bowl of water, extra towels, and a few treats just in case. Then they dimmed the lights and sat beside Luna, hands resting, on her back, whispering soft words of reassurance. At 8:03 p.m., the first puppy was born, small, slick, and squirming. Luna immediately turned to clean it, her movements instinctual and full of care. She nudged the pup toward her belly, and it latched, on like it had always known where to go. Then came the second, the third, the fourth. Time blurred. Hours passed like minutes as one after another tiny lives entered the world, each greeted with the same tender welcome from their mother. When the 13th arrived, Ethan glanced at Rachel. "That's what the vet predicted. Looks like we're done." But Luna wasn't done. At first, everything seemed to settle. She curled her body protectively around the litter, her breathing slowing. The room grew quiet, the kind of stillness that comes after something incredible. Rachel gently stroked her back. "You did it, girl," she whispered, a soft smile on her lips. Then Luna shifted. Not much, just a small movement, a twitch in her hind leg, a stretch in her back. Rachel paused. Seconds passed. Then Luna let out a low, quiet sound. Not a whine, but something deeper. Instinctual. Her body tensed again. Her breathing changed. Rachel sat upright. Ethan, I think. Rachel's heart skipped, and there it was. Another puppy, small, wet, trembling, alive. Luna turned toward it without hesitation, licking gently, guiding it close. Then came another wave, another pup, and another. Each arrival slower, softer, like the world was exhaling with her. By the time the last one was born, it was nearly dawn. 18 puppies. Rachel counted them again and again. Her eyes widened, filling with both awe and disbelief, as if her mind refused to accept what she was seeing. It felt impossible. Yet there they were, tiny bodies wriggling and alive before her. A shocking and incredibly rare number. Even the vet would later call it extraordinary for a German shepherd's first litter. Ethan sat speechless, one hand on Luna's back, the other gently petting a tiny pup curled in his palm. Luna lay still now, exhausted, but calm. Her eyes met Rachel's for a brief, quiet moment. Not fearful, not tired, but peaceful, like she knew she had done something incredible. Rachel wiped her eyes, overwhelmed by the weight of it all. "You're amazing, Luna. Absolutely amazing." The days that followed were a blur of soft whimpers, tiny paws, and an overwhelming amount of laundry. The once quiet home now pulsed with the rhythm of new life. 18 tiny heartbeats, each one demanding care, attention, and love. They had become a family of 21. Rachel barely left the living room in the first week. She built a schedule for feedings, made notes about each pup's weight, and spent her nights dozing beside the whelping box with a blanket over her shoulders. Ethan took charge of supplies, more towels, more puppy pads, more food, and became an expert at gently bottle feeding the smallest ones when Luna needed rest. The house no longer echoed with silence, but with life. Squeaky yelps, the shuffle of little feet, and the soothing hum of Rachel's lullabies as she calmed them, or anxious pups. Luna remained extraordinary. Despite her exhaustion, she cared for every one of her puppies with quiet devotion, cleaning them, nuzzling them, and keeping them close beneath her warmth. She hardly left their side. "She's doing better than I ever could," Rachel whispered one evening, watching Luna gently nudge a tired pup back toward the warmth of her belly. Ethan smiled, sliding an arm around her shoulders. "She's a natural, and somehow, so are you." They looked around at the chaos, the blankets, the food bowls, the tiny sleeping bodies. It was overwhelming, yes, but also perfect. This wasn't the life they had planned. It was bigger, messier, louder, and yet in every way that mattered it was exactly right. The weeks passed like seasons, each day a little brighter, a little louder, filled with the sounds of life growing and love expanding. The puppies were thriving, eyes opened, legs grew steadier. Their aunt's fragile bodies now scrambled across the living room floor with clumsy energy, chasing tails and tumbling over blankets. Each one had a name, a personality, a story already beginning to take shape. And through it all, Luna remained calm, steady, and present, the quiet center of the storm. Rachel often found herself just watching Luna nudge a restless pup into, place or stretch gently over all 18 to make sure each one was warm and close. There was something sacred in those small gestures. "She's teaching me more than any book ever could," Rachel whispered, one morning as sunlight poured through the window and bathed the room in gold. "About patience, about care, about what it means to give without expecting anything back. Ethan, kneeling nearby, tore fill a bowl of water, nodded. Cher minds me that the best kind of love isn't loud, it's quiet, it's consistent, and it shows up every single day, no matter what. They both looked. At Luna, surrounded by her puppies, her eyes half closed, breathing steady, a picture of pure devotion.